We're going to take a look at some of the insanity in the herd mentality that comes forth. You've no doubt witnessed this probably many times in your life, but this goes to show you how easy it is to program the masses, right, into not only complying with what the NWO wants them to do, like wearing face masks and gloves and all this crap and standing in line, keeping 6 feet apart, yada, 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 but also using them as an instrument to go and attack other people so that people that don't conform with the majority are singled out by all those programmed sheep, and then the programmed sheep berate and yell and attack the said person. So thanks to Olarin for sending me this. Other people have sent it to me, and yeah, if you haven't seen this one, this is in Staten Island here in a grocer, and some women didn't wear a mask. And I just, you have to see how everyone reacts, or all the other patrons in the store react, because they're wearing masks. It's quite hilarious what happens here. It's also very disturbing. So let's take a look at this together.
Get out!
If you can catch that, it's not the best footage, but there's a guy here who pulls down his mask to yell at the lady. I like the woman on the scooter, the electric scooter that comes in. I mean, it just goes to show you how dumbed down they've made the masses, right? That people, obviously all these people are mentally ill. And yeah, they are. I'm sorry. They watch television. You're mentally ill if you watch television. I mean, it would be a real challenge not to be mentally ill if you were to put on CNN or CBC or any of these, New World Order, beast media outlets every day that rapes your mind and programs you into degeneracy and idiocy and compliance. And of course, taking belligerent action against those who refuse to comply with what is, of course, highly egregious and totally against your constitutional rights, forcing people to wear masks to go shopping and stuff like that. So watch it again here. They're all screaming and pointing. You see how they're all just mimicking each other, pointing, get out, get out, get out.
Get out!
Yeah. And they're saying really disgusting things. I don't know if you can pick that out. You're probably better that you can't. But they said something like dirty ass pig and F and this and that. But if it was me and I was in this situation, which could happen tomorrow, because I will not wear a mask. And if it does happen to me, that, I feel sorry because it's a woman, right? It's harder to defend yourself against a mob when you're a woman. But if it was me, there's no way I would not back down. I'd be telling these people pretty much to their faces that they are idiots, and I would just go about my business and laugh it all up. It's pretty nuts, though, isn't it? I mean, look at what's going on. So I found an article dealing with this. This is off CBS, right? News here. Shoppers at Staten Island grocery store scream at women for not wearing a mask. Video showing a group of furious shoppers berating a woman who wasn't wearing a face mask covering at the Staten Island ShopRite went viral over Memorial Weekend due to coronavirus pandemic. New Yorkers are required to wear face masks or face coverings. No, they're not. You're just trying to make them think that they are. When out in public and unable to follow social distancing guidelines, the footage shows customers yelling at a woman and demanding she leave the ShopRite, which I guess you can say is shop wrong, because she isn't wearing a mask. The video, which was originally shared on Facebook, gained popularity on social media after Twitter user reposted it on Sunday night. And so they post the video here, and that's the same link I just showed you. ShopRite spokesperson told CBS News in a statement Monday that the incident happened 2 weeks ago and the store management reported to authorities. ShopRite said customers who notice others that aren't wearing face mask coverings should notify customer service and not take the matter into their own hands. Preventing the spread of COVID-19 is a shared responsibility. At ShopRite, we continue to adhere, you hear that word a lot, adhere, to our sanitation and social distancing protocols to ensure our stores remain safe. Morally safer, of course, place for associates and customers to work and shop, the company said in a statement. We are all in this together. There you go. There's slogans. And we ask for everyone to be patient and understanding during this difficult time. Many users or Twitter users came out in support of the customers who called the women out, including, of course, the hideous creature from hell, Alyssa Milano, who plays the role. It's like the opposite of James Woods kind of thing. This is how they play their left-right game. Alyssa Milano, never been prouder of growing up in Staten Island. Alyssa Milano. Now, as you see, almost 25,000. Of course, a lot of that's just bots and whatnot, but it gives you an idea that most people cheer this stuff on. Now, this woman was verbally assaulted, and I guess she left the premises after that, but, for people to cheer this on, this means you are terrible people. Like, if you cheer this type of stuff on, you're a terrible person. You are a terrible person. Unfortunately, it seems like most people are terrible people. Most people are bad people because first, they do not apply critical thought to anything. They do exactly as they're told, which is extremely dangerous for all the rest of us. And they actually go out of their way to attack people who refuse to conform. They go out of their way. And how does that make any situation better in the sense, even if it was some deadly virus, which we know, of course, it isn't, but even if it was, right, how would you be making the situation better by going after it? All this screaming, people ripping off their masks just to shout at this lady. All the energy that's spent, and people clearly, coming together here and breaking their own 6 feet guidelines. You had the douchebag here pulling down his mask. What a bunch of hypocrites. I'm sorry. Anybody that cheers this stuff on, I can't tell you enough what a terrible person you are. You need to be told this, and you need to be put in your place. This type of behavior is extremely dangerous for humanity. This is exactly what the NWO wants. They want everybody to lockstep, and then they want all the people in the lockstep to, go after anybody who refuses to comply. This is the big game that they're playing here. You've got others made light of the situation. Sam Biederman, an NYC Department of Parks and Recreation official, wrote, in Staten Island, they call this asking her politely to leave. A video comes as Staten Island local leaders have called on New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to allow the borough to reopen earlier than the rest of New York City. Cuomo has resisted those calls. If you live in Staten Island, you very well may be working in Manhattan. You're traveling through New York City area. The governor says so. Staten Island is part of New York City. Staten Island just practically is part of this city, and that's the region in which the infection would spread, yada, yada, yada. But you just see this insanity that plays out with these types of stories. Again, the left-right divide that's happening incessantly. Every one of these things that goes viral, they use this to the maximum degree. And as you see with Alyssa Milano, a lot of people that are programmed are actually cheering this stuff on. You're actually cheering on evil when you do this stuff. It's insanity. And I see it all around me, so I see this. People are more resistant or more reluctant to do it to a guy like myself than they are maybe to a woman, right? Because they're a little bit more concerned about how I may react, seeing that I can physically defend myself pretty adequately. But you see this type of behavior. For all we know, this woman is a mother who is trying to get food for her children, sort of thing, probably, right? And here she is chased out of a store. How long before it gets much worse? It's just insane. oh my God. We'll just play it one last time here. Maybe we'll use Alyssa Milano's one here just to show you. Just to show you the contrast here.
Get out!
I hate every one of these people with a passion. And then you see the reactions. That's the way to do it. Well done. I'm so sick of these fake patriots refusing to wear a mask. And you see they've got the avatar mocking Donald Trump, right? The opposite of the MAGA maggots sort of thing. Laura Myers, public shaming is often pretty effective. We need to practice it more. Did you, are you seriously that evil? I mean, seriously, these people, you can't get away with that type of stuff, or at least there has to be a retort, right? Do your part, show respect, wear a mask. So you see Andrew Cuomo himself responded to this. What a douchebag. What should Andrew Cuomo be saying? He should be saying, please do not take matters in your own hand. You know, I mean, he shouldn't be saying anything. He should be arrested, right? But I mean, it should be rotting in a cell. But really, if he was to say something proper here, he would be, okay, please, people, do not go after individuals. Leave it to the establishments, or at least try to be somewhat diplomatic. But you see here, he just says, do your part. Show respect, wear a mask. Here's the Trump unhinged, unfit, incompetent, lazy, and a total failure as the president. His weekend discretions of presidency and moral failures as a leader are profound. He is despicable. What exactly is it his defenders are defending at this point? And what a case can be here for 4 more. And then Joe Biden responded to it. That's not a single thing the American people can't do. Look at this. There's not a single thing the American people can't do if we do it together. Can you believe this? Former vice president, or the most likely the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, and here he is saying that this is the way to be. Joyce Allen says, I never thought I'd live in a country where I'd have to seriously worry about the president pervasively cheating to steal an election or refusing to participate in smooth transition of power if he lost. And you see right down the middle, this is what a real president and first lady look like. John Cooper here, MAGA, anti-MAGA, sort of pro-Clinton and co. It's just, right, it's all a big game that they do this. It's so disturbing because what we would see, most of us, there's Chuck Schumer, Palpatine himself, it's May 25th and the president still doesn't have an adequate national testing strategy. So you see how they've all jumped on this to push their narrative that everyone needs to lockstep. I mean, this is extremely evil what's going on. I'm sure most people listening to this understand this, but you see the other side, because this is one of the things that you need to understand about the internet, and I'm sure most people do, but if you don't, is that we all have a tendency to be in our own sort of areas with like-minded folks, because we tend to gravitate towards people that are of the same mindset, which is for good and for better and for worse, right? The sort of groupthink and, you know, all that stuff. The thing is that if we were to follow how the people in our sort of realm react to this, everyone would be really angry about it and freaking out and saying this is so evil and it's unconstitutional and it's that poor women and stuff, correctly, right? But you have to stop for a second and look at how it's being played on the other side of the left-right paradigm. And then you see this is even, this is probably the area where most people would be in terms of their reaction to it. And that puts us in a very serious situation, because Americans that do this to other Americans are terrible people. No question, terrible people. Like these people in the grocery store, I'm not going to say they should be arrested, but I mean, they've verbally assaulted this woman and chased her off the premises. I mean, maybe she has a lawsuit, right? But I mean, what an evil, awful thing for people to do. And it's all because they're watching television. That's all. I mean, if they didn't watch television, if all these people didn't have a television and didn't have social media, none of them would be cheering this type of stuff on because they just wouldn't be programmed. There's Mika Brzezinski, Zbigniew's daughter, right? Please read this. Please read the letter, and please do the right thing. If you agree, please retweet. Please delete those tweets. Just nuts. It's so crazy that this is the type of stuff. There's Alyssa Milano's tweet. And then they talk about the hospitals. And it just goes on. Nancy Pelosi here. Just nuts. Anyways, you gotta have a laugh at the same time because it's so insane. I think the best laugh here was this woman. I was trying to see if she had a mask on, but it's so perfect, right? That you got this middle-aged woman who's too large, I guess, to stand on her own 2 feet. I mean, you never know. We could seriously have something wrong with her. It's not her fault, but I mean, it's more and more these days that people have just made themselves so inept physically and are in such poor shape. And a physical poor shape is a reflection of your mental shape, right? If you're really unfit physically, then usually that's going to be, I mean, it's very hard to be fit mentally if you're unfit physically. So, but look at this evilness and talk to me or tell me about your experiences. I have so many people messaging me every day. I want to share some of these. So to the good folks that are sending me their own personal stories, I'll try to share some of them coming up, and I won't reveal your names or stuff if probably most people would just prefer to have their story told. But there's a lot of stories coming in that people are sending me that are just insane, like very much of the same ilk, where you're going out in public. I mean, I haven't it myself. As I said, people are reluctant to tell somebody like me because physically I look like I can handle myself, and I look like a tough dude sort of thing. So it's more unlikely that people are going to call someone like myself out than they are going to call out a poor innocent woman who is, just doing her thing. But I feel it myself when I'm going around and I go into the shopping mall or the grocer, and everyone's got a mask, and most people have gloves on too, and they're all giving dirty looks because people like me are very few people. Like I said the other day when I was at the store, there was just one other dude, a black dude with dreadlocks, and we both locked eyes and laughed our asses off at this scenario because, it's just insane what's going on. But how long before all of us are treated this way? This is all part, too, because it makes you conform, because you're afraid of being singled out. You're afraid of standing up because you don't want to be ridiculed. Look at what's happened to the reaction of this poor woman. I mean, if you think about it, you think this poor woman here, who's probably just trying to feed her children, is attacked verbally and shouted out of the store, and you've got all these top senators and congressmen and, former vice presidents and Democratic leaders, I mean, all coming out and just cheering the whole thing on and saying, yeah, this is the way to be. And wow, I mean, look at the traitors that run the United States right now, how they have completely inverted the constitutional rights. And we talked about that the other day with Dershowitz, right? Or a couple weeks ago when Dershowitz... last week, I think, when he put out that video on Jason Goodman's channel where he's like, you do not have the constitutional right to refuse to wear a mask. You don't have the constitutional right to refuse vaccinations. You don't have the constitutional rights to refuse social distancing and all these things. And it's like, well, wait a second. No. Your Constitution protects you from all those things. It's the opposite. But this is what they do. They invert it, right? And then they throw it back at you and say, actually, you are wrong, sort of thing. But no, they're wrong, and this needs to go to the highest courts, and these people need to be protected. We need to do the best that we can to try to counteract this, but we also got to be careful not to just play into the left-right game, which is how they're dividing and conquering. I mean, it's really disturbing what's happening right across the world. And again, it's not just because of Staten Island. It could be UK, it could be Canada, it could be Australia. We've seen similar things all over the world happening regularly. So people, if you have these videos, please do send them to me. Come and check out my Patreon, of course, if you can. That's the best way to support the show, and you get direct messages and all that. Nice community there. Lots of things being shared. I really appreciate people sending me this stuff because somebody like myself is in a position to get this information out and try to reach as many people as possible. So you guys are awesome. I hope you're doing well. It's really hot here, by the way. It's like, I don't know, it's like humidity's gone way up, and I'm not going to complain at all, but it is pretty hot. So I hope you're all hanging in there, keeping cool, and getting out and getting the fresh air and saying the hell with all the masks and the mastards and the obeyers, and that you're standing up for your constitutional rights, and that you're educating as many people, planting as many seeds as possible, and you're standing up to this tyranny. You guys are the best. Much love. God bless. See you guys all in the next one. Take it easy.